Oh my God, you guys. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Olivia's Obscura. My name is Olivia. I'm your host today and every day. And I'm so happy to be here this week. And I think we might have a few new listeners from TikTok. So if you found your way here, just know that I am standing here welcoming you with open arms, even though you can't see me, but it's the thought that counts. And I'm just stoked that you made it to the pod, okay? I'm glad that you stuck around for one episode, and I'm glad you're sticking around for another one, okay? This is a long-form stream of consciousness kind of chit-chatty podcast. So if you're looking to just have a little chat, a little one-sided chat with me, that's what I'm here for, dude. You can talk. You can, put this on in your headphones when you're walking, and you can just, talk back to me. And people will just think you're on a phone call or on a FaceTime or something. If that's kind of your vibe, if you are looking to have a chat, okay? I'm not here to judge. I'm here to say, you go, girl. My in real life friends text me when they're listening, and they're like, "Oh my God, I just feel like I'm hanging out with you, even though you're not here right now." And I'm like, perfect. That's exactly my dream. Is to just get to be able to hang out with everybody all the time, even if I'm not physically there. My goal is to have my spirit penetrating everyone's ears all the time. Sorry for the use of the word penetrating. That was gross. If you're new here, something that I'm instituting on the podcast is a weekly report. If you're not familiar, it's like a weekly report, the kind that you see on TikTok, but I switched out the R that's reading for W, watching, because I famously just don't get around to reading a lot of books. Do I wish I was different? No, honestly, because I love to watch things. I love visual stimulation. Give it to me. So the order of our weekly report, if you're not familiar, is watching, eating, playing, obsessing, recommending, and treating. So without further ado, we're just going to hop right into this, okay? I have a lot of ideas for episodes, but they're just not fleshed out yet. I'm doing the thing that I do where I spend too much time thinking about something, and then by the time I'm done thinking about it, I'm actually I don't even care about it, and I don't even want to execute it anymore because I've just spent so much time mulling it over in my head. I'm kind of mid that cycle right now, and I'm trying to break it because obviously I don't want to get to the point where I'm sick of thinking about subjects before I even get the chance to speak them into existence. But it's all part of the creative process. Okay? Today, I didn't have anything really nailed down. So I'm just kind of gonna yap. I'm kind of gonna yap and blab, and we're gonna have just a little talking time. And if you don't like it, that's really okay, because this is free for you to listen to. So that makes me feel better. I'm not really, I would feel like I would need to provide a really amazing product if people were paying for this, but no, they're not. So today I'm not stressing. I'm here to have a good time. My goal in life, always have a good time. What was this tweet that I just saw earlier? It was I'm trying to remember who it was. It was a screenshot of somebody saying that they didn't want to get married, a celebrity saying they didn't want to get married because they didn't want to be in a situation for even an hour where they're not enjoying themselves. And I was like, that is so me, except I am in a relationship and I am enjoying my time in that relationship, obviously, or else I wouldn't be in it. But this just tickled me because that is kind of my philosophy. Yeah, it's Kim Cattrall. Quote, "I don't want to be in a situation for even an hour where I'm not enjoying myself. Period. That is what I'm talking about." W, watching. What am I watching? I'm watching a lot of stuff right now. I am currently watching 90210. Montana, friend of the pod, told me that I should watch it because she was with me during my Degrassi journey. I can't remember. I don't think I've talked about this on here before, but during August and September, and I think a little bit of October too. Yeah, through beginning of August through mid-October, all I did was watch Degrassi. I couldn't watch anything else. All I did was watch Degrassi Next Generation and then Degrassi Next Class. I haven't watched the junior high or the high school versions yet. I tried, but they weren't grasping my mind. So I let go, but I felt so like sad and aimless, and like such a big part of my life and heart and soul was missing after I finished Degrassi, because between Degrassi Next Generation and Degrassi Next Class, which is like it's not really a spin-off, they just kind of like renamed the series at season 11, I think it was. So from like seasons 1 through 11 it was Degrassi Next Generation, and then from 11 through 14 it was Degrassi Next Class, and Netflix picked it up. I don't know if you're unfamiliar. It's a Canadian TV show. It's like a teen soap opera, and it genuinely gripping. I loved it so much. There was so much of it. Like, I love to watch something that there's just like so much of. Like, I was so strapped in for 14 seasons of Degrassi. I loved every minute of it. Some seasons were better than others, but like I couldn't not watch all of the episodes. Like, I had my ass sat watching Degrassi a lot. Like, I don't even think I'm realizing until right now how much Degrassi I watched, because that was also back when the seasons, I think the show ran from 2001, I want to say, to like 2017 or whatever. But that was back when they made TV shows with seasons that were so long. At the beginning, it was just like a regular TV show that like came back for seasons. So there was like a normal amount of episodes in them. But then at some point in the series, they transitioned it to like a soap opera style TV show. So there's an episode every week of the year. So there's like 48 episodes in a season, which is truly insane. Like, they were only like 20-minute episodes, but wait, no, I think they were an hour, which without commercials is like 40 minutes, but 48 of those in one season, that's a lot. So you can understand where I was at personally when I lost this TV show in my life. When I was done, I couldn't watch any more of it. Montana, a couple of weeks ago, said, you should watch the 90210 reboot with Annalyn McCord. I think it could be your new Degrassi. So I gave it a shot. Obviously, I love it. Because do you want to know the first thing that I clocked when I put that show on? I said, oh my God, the main girl in the show is Darcy from Degrassi Next Generation. So there's crossover there, and I'm obviously intrigued. I love that. What's her name in the show? Hold, please. Annie Wilson in 90210 is played by Shanae Grimes, who played Darcy in Degrassi. And then kind of like the queen bee on the show, Naomi, is played by Annalyn McCord, who is beautiful and amazing and absolutely acting her pussy off in this show. I will say, she's supposed to be in high school. She does look a little bit 35 years old. Okay, they have her styled. The way they do her hair and her styling is iconic, and it serves, but it's not giving high schooler. But, you know, whatever. That is the one thing I really liked about Degrassi, is that the kids looked like they were supposed to be in high school. And they were, like, the actors and actresses playing the actors, what am I even saying? The actors in Degrassi were actually the age that they were supposed to be, or somewhere in that vicinity. Like, it was usually like a 16-year-old playing a 16-year-old. So, I don't know. You don't see that a lot. So I did enjoy it. And it was refreshing to see kids that looked like, 15-year-olds and not 35-year-old corporate boss babes. But hey, we do what we can in these trying times. Me and Ty also today watched the first episode of The Curse, which is the new show with Nathan Fielder and Emma Stone, and it was insane. I was like kind of jaw on the floor for part of it, because there was just at one point just full frontal nudity. Like, there was just, actually no, at 2 different points there was just full on peener wiener in the show, and I was like, oh, I like clutched my pearls, you guys. That is shocking. It is shocking to be watching like a Paramount Plus original and just see micropeen loud and clear. And I looked it up. It wasn't, obviously I knew this in my heart, but I like had to look it up. Obviously it wasn't Nathan Fielder's real dick. It was like a micropenis prosthetic or something. But if you haven't watched the show, you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? But there's like a small penis plot line in the show. From what I can tell. I didn't pay attention. I paid mostly attention. It was good. Emma Stone, love her. Nathan Fielder, love him too. Strange guy, which obviously is intriguing. They had really good chemistry together as actors, in my opinion. I was like, okay, I'm actually on board with this show. It's pretty convincing, and it's one of those shows where everything's a little suspicious and like you don't really know what's gonna go wrong, which I like. I like a show like that. So we only got the first episode free, but we need to just pay like $11 for the Paramount Plus membership for like a month so I can watch the rest of it, because I do really want to know what happens. Like I'm still thinking about it. We watched it earlier and like it is still on my mind. So that tells me that I should probably watch the rest of it. Speaking of shows that kind of keep you on your toes, bars, but we have also been, me and Ty, when I say we, have been doing a kind of sporadic You rewatch, because the final season is premiering in February, I believe. And I love that show so much. That's like my Breaking Bad. You know how people say Breaking Bad is like the best TV show of all time? For me personally, in my heart and soul, it's You. It's You on Netflix. And we made it through the first season today, and we started the second season. The second season of You is so good. I think this is my third watch through of the second season of You, because I watched it right when it came out, when I lived at home, and then I watched it again with Ty when we moved into our apartment we have together, and we had COVID, so we had to quarantine, and then we're watching it again right now. And every time I watch this, like, I know what's going to happen. I've seen the show, but I'm still like, the acting is so good, and the writing is so good, and the show is so good, and the like production and the music and everything. Like every time I watch it, I'm still like, oh, like what's going to happen? Even though I know what's going to happen, but like I'm still immersed in it, just like the first time I was watching it. And I love that. I really, really love that. I love an immersive viewing experience. Maybe not in the way you would think. Like, I really don't like those movie theater seats that like shake and like tremble. I went to a movie once that was in like a special theater. I don't even know, because I'm such like a budget bitch that I never go to like the nice movie theater. I just go to like the regular one. Like I never go to like Cinépolis or whatever. Like I never go to IMAX. I just go to like the regular theater, because I don't care that much. But one time I went to a movie, I think it was like Batman or something. I don't even know. It was like 8 years ago, but not really. It was like 6 or 7 years ago. That is so not important. I can't get hung up on the specifics. But it was in one of those theaters with the seats, like when it gave you like an immersive experience where it like rattled the seat around during the movie. Like when like explosions would happen, like the seat would like tremble. I didn't love that. I didn't love it. I wasn't like, wow, I would really pay for this again. You know, I would have had the same, if not slightly better and less jarring experience in a theater where the seat didn't move. But yeah, anyway, I am loving rewatching You. I'm having so much fun, just like the first time that I watched the show, and the second time, realistically. Okay. And I can't wait for the fourth season. Is it the fourth season that's coming out, or is it the fifth? Okay, so it was season 1, 2, 3, and then season 4 was launched in part 1 and 2. And now the one that's coming out in February is going to be the 5th and final season. And I'm okay with that. I don't need it to go on forever. Like it's a good show. I'm going to go back and rewatch it a lot. Over my lifetime, I guarantee that I will do a few more watch throughs of You. And I'm not mad that they're ending it. I think that it kind of needs to end, actually. I really loved the direction they took it with season 4. When he was in London and kind of like infiltrating high society. Like, I love that kind of thing. It was, I just like, now I'm trying to remember season 4, because I've only watched that season once when it came out last year. Oh my God, the second part of the season 4 came out earlier this year, February of 2023. That feels like so long ago. February of this year feels so long ago, which is insane, because overall I feel like this year has absolutely blown by. Like zoom, like this shit has been cruising. But if I'm like trying to remember February, like Oh my God, that feels like a lifetime ago. I'm a different woman now. Moving on to E, the eating portion of the weekly report. I feel the need that it is my civic duty, really, to put you onto a snack. A Trader Joe's classic. It's the Holiday Cheer Unexpected Cheddar Spread. It has cranberries, Riesling, and like a cinnamon in it. And it's really good. The Unexpected Cheddar Spread, if you've never had it, for those who are absolutely missing out, like if for some reason you don't go to Trader Joe's, or if you don't live in the United States, I'm like genuinely so sad that you don't get to experience the Holiday Cheer Unexpected Cheddar Spread. And like, sure, you might have free healthcare, okay, but you don't have Trader Joe's and you don't have Unexpected Cheddar Spread, and I'm going to take what I can get here. This is a 2-ingredient snack, and the second ingredient is an Envy apple. Trader Joe's recently has had these Envy apples that I think it must be a new kind of apple. Like Babe Wake Up new apple just got released, because I kind of haven't seen this apple before. Maybe last year. I feel like it's like, if I'm thinking correctly, which I don't really know, because I feel like I might be getting it mixed up with a different kind of apple, but again, one of the tenets of this podcast is that we don't fact check, we just say shit. So if I'm recalling correctly, the Envy apple was like engineered to be like the perfect apple. They're like super crisp and super like sweet, but not too sweet, like a little bit of a tang. So they're like the perfect apple to snack on. And wait, yes, I just Googled it. Envy apples, yeah, apparently they take up to 10 hours to turn brown once sliced, which I've never tested, because when I slice up one of these apples, I'm eating the whole thing. It is so yummy. And that's what I'm getting at, is if you dip the Envy apple into the Unexpected Cheddar Spread Holiday Cheer version, it is genuinely the yummiest taste experience you can have. I kept wanting to say olfactory, but I know that means smell, and not taste. But I feel like you get my drift. Okay, now I'm kind of like on an Envy apples rabbit hole here. They have an Instagram account that has 11.8 thousand followers, and it's like just like a corporate Apple page. Oh my God. It feels like they're using like stock footage and just kind of like photoshopping apples into people's hands. That's funny. Envy apples. If you want to do a brand partnership, hit me up. I fucking love your apples, dude. Great apples. Big fan of your work. If anyone's got friends in high places, anyone knows anyone who works at Envy Apples, please let me know. I'm a big fan of their work, okay? Remember the big non-GMO reckoning that happened, like in the late 2000s? Like, I'm the opposite of that now. I'm pro-GMO if it's going to give me fruit that is delicious as an Envy apple. This is not related to the weekly report, but I do feel the need. I just remembered that I had to do a fact check corner. Like, I know I literally just said that we don't fact check, but if people reach out to me with the facts checked, I'm not going to turn that down. And my friend Taylor messaged me after last week's episode where I was talking about, if you remember, me being in front of the Sprouts trying to dodge the clipboard guys with my Taylor Swift shirt on. Go listen to last week's episode, Dumb Heteronormative Gossip, if you haven't heard that story and you would like to. But I couldn't think of the word for the formal term for a clipboard guy. And she was kind enough to text me and ask, did you mean canvasser? And yes, I did. Yes, I did mean canvasser. They were canvassing, and that is what was going on there. So before I forget, I know it's kind of out of left field, but I just needed to get that off my desk, get that off my chest while I could. Thank you, Taylor. I was trying to dodge the canvassers outside of Sprouts. All right, we're at P for playing, and this week I am playing. I feel the need to put you all onto a Patreon that I subscribe to. That is probably the best $5 a month I spend, because I love this creator's bonus content. And the creator I'm talking about is Cathorout. I think her real name is Catherine Berry, but her handle on Instagram and YouTube and everything is Cathorout. And I've actually been watching her videos for definitely like 10 years at this point, because I think she's like 2 or 3 years older than me. And so when I was in high school, I would watch her videos about like trying to get into college and like going to college, which is really funny because I like never wanted to go to college and I didn't go to college, but I did in high school love to watch college YouTubers. Like I remember I loved Cather Out, and then I loved the other one I remember watching all the time was Sarabelle 93X. She was like Southern. And I like did like nothing about her like feels like it would have resonated with me. She was like in a sorority and she lived in Kentucky, but I watched her shit all the time. So anyway, not the point. As I've grown, like she's obviously always stayed a couple years older than me, and it's really been fun to like have this kind of insane parasocial relationship with her because everything's like a little bit lined up. Like we both kind of quit our jobs at the same time. She did this really amazing series. I think it's like a series of a couple videos on her YouTube channel about like her being unemployed and like the joy of not working. And I just like have loved watching her evolution and her content over like literally the past decade, which is insane. Like, I don't even have friends from 10 years ago, but I have Cather Out. And she has a podcast. It's called Revelatorium, which is amazing. But her Patreon is where the juice is, okay? She puts amazing bonus videos on there. There's a bunch of, like, old podcasts that she never released publicly that I found to be, like, very enjoyable to listen to. She's someone that I'm intrigued by, and I love her mind, but I don't have that kind of mind at all. Like, I feel like my values line up with hers and my, like, humor, and kind of, I feel like we're kind of two sides of the same coin, but she's introspective in a way that I'm really not. And I watched her bonus vlog that she posted yesterday on the Patreon, and she was talking about how she kind of treats her life as an experiment, and she just like tries stuff, and like she has so much like confidence, but not in a way that I've ever really seen confidence modeled before. Like there's something about her that is effortless, but at the same time is still trying in a way that I really relate to, because I've never been like a easy breezy girl. Like, I hate to say it, but I've never been a natural. All I do is try. And so I never really have connected with like I love them and I want to be them, but I've never really connected with like cool girls who are like easy breezy girls. And like, God, I want to be one so bad. I want to be breezy and chill and cool, but I just, at my core, that's not who I am. And to see someone who like has such a grasp on, I'm talking about Cather Out right now, by the way, still. To have someone who has such a grasp on like her mind and like her inner workings and just knows so much about herself. Like the vlog I was watching yesterday, the newest one, she tried out stand-up comedy for the first time, and she's like not a comedian by trade. It was like just her first time. She just went on for an open mic and did like a 30-second set, and it was like so cool to watch. Someone recorded it, and because she killed it. First of all, it was her first time. She killed it. And second, she had some really interesting musings afterwards, talking about like how she always really resonated with comedy. Like she always really loved consuming and watching comedy. So she was like, why don't I try it? Why don't I just try it? And like, what a radical way to live your life. Like, I love that. And like, that's kind of how I like hope to live my life, is like, I like this thing. Like, why don't I just try it? Why don't I just do it? Like, that's kind of what I did with the podcast. Like, I have been consuming podcasts for so many years and making notes app lists and rough drafts of so many podcasts. And like, finally, I just decided to start the podcast, not worrying about being perfect, not worrying about being like fully evolved. And like, yeah, it feels awesome. And like, I love recording the podcast, editing the podcast, listening to people's reactions to the podcast. Like, I love it. So like, I did feel connected to what she was talking about in her most recent vlog. And so for that reason, I need to say that I've been playing the Cather Out Patreon. And if you like supporting creators, well, definitely subscribe to like her YouTube channel and her TikTok, just because all of her content is just like really good and not like stressful. You know how sometimes you consume some people's content online and you're like, you leave it and your chest feels kind of heavy and like your breathing is kind of like, your breathing is kind of short and you're like, I don't feel so good. She's like the opposite of that. Like after you watch or listen to something that Cather Out's done, you're kind of like, oh, I feel like a renewed zest for life right now. And she's on the smaller end of content creators. Like, is she the biggest, most famous, most favoritist YouTuber to me? Absolutely. But in the grand scheme of things, I wouldn't be surprised if you hadn't heard of her. So please go check her out. Catherine Berry, Cather Out. Cannot plug that enough. I have been absolutely demolishing. I've been housing the content from her. Okay? Capiche? Moving on to, obsessing. What am I obsessing over this week? I need to talk about something. I need to talk about something honestly, truthfully, from my heart. And that is the Fast and the Furious movie franchise. Okay? If you know me in real life, you're like, please don't talk about this. Please stop talking about this. But I can't. I have access to the internet and I have a microphone in front of my face. So I'm going to talk about the Fast and the Furious movies real quick. Until very recently, I had never seen any of the Fast and the Furious movies, but I was obviously familiar with the concept, right? Fast cars, explosions. That's kind of the extent of it. Like, that was kind of the extent of it for me. And historically, I don't enjoy action movies, don't give a shit about cars. But when I tell you that they put crack cocaine in these movies, they do some kind of like hypnotic spell on you while you're watching them. Like, I watched all 10 of these movies, like, jaw on the floor, slack-jawed. Me, Ty, and Montana watched them together. We watched the first one all together on Halloween night. We went to a friend's little get-together. We tried to go to a bar to do karaoke, but the karaoke line was closed. They closed the queue because there was too many people on it. And we were like, well, we don't want to be at this bar if there's not karaoke. No offense. You wanted us to just like drink at a bar? No. We said, let's watch the Fast and the Furious. And that we did. And that was October 31st. This past Tuesday or Wednesday, we watched the 10th, the most recent installment of the franchise. And if you do the math on that, that is 2.5 Fast and Furious movies per week, every week since Halloween. Do you know what that does to a person? I wouldn't expect you to understand. Montana would get off work. She'd text me. She'd say, what are you doing tonight? I said, nothing. She would go, Fast and Furious? I'd say, yup. Fast and Furious. Because there was 10 of them. We felt, again, like, remember when I was talking about how much I love Degrassi? Because there was like 14 seasons that I could just pour every inch of my being into. That's how we felt about the Fast and Furious. We said, there are 10 of these goddamn fucking movies. This is, we're rich. We're rich and wealthy. We hit the jackpot. We didn't see the end coming. And I'm, quite frankly, devastated. I watched all 10 of them in the span of a month. What do you expect me to do now? Like, what do you expect me to do? Like, wait for the next one that's coming out in 2025? I don't think you get it. I wish there was 20 of these movies. I would have demolished all 20 of them in a month still. The one that we didn't watch was the Hobbs and Shaw spinoff. For some reason, Ty has seen that one, like, as a standalone. Like, before he saw any of the other movies, he saw the Hobbs and Shaw. I, quite frankly, have no interest in it. Because, hey, to speak my real and honest truth, if Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez aren't in it, I quite frankly have little to no interest. And the Hobbs and Shaw spinoff, which stars The Rock and Jason Statham, just doesn't, like, light me up inside. And so, again, I'm going to quote another thing I said earlier in the podcast. I don't want to be in a situation where I am not enjoying myself for even an hour. Thank you, Kim Cattrall. That is literally my new motto. So, no, I haven't watched the Hobbs and Shaw movie. Might I someday if I'm feeling bored enough? Perhaps. Oh my God, that reminds me. As we finished the 10th movie, it was crazy. The end was crazy. We were like, what the fuck? Because, okay, spoiler alert, if you, like, for some reason haven't seen these movies, if you're behind the times like I am, I guess spoiler alert, I'm not, like, really gonna spoil anything, but, like, I am, kind of, so do with that what you will. Just, like, skip ahead, like, 30 seconds or whatever. But all the movies, like, they just keep, like, resurrecting people who, like, you had thought previously died, and that's all I'm gonna say, to spare the people who didn't want to know. But they resurrected somebody at the end of the 10th movie, and we were like, what the fuck? Like, why do all these dead people keep coming back? You gotta keep them on your toes, you know? Never let them guess your next move. That's the thing. But me, Ty Montana, we're all sitting in my living room, just finished the 10th movie. We were like, you guys, like, what do we do now? Like, this is so sad. We feel so empty and aimless and directionless. And we found, this is a tangent, okay, sorry. We found, in a desperate search, 2 short films that were made by the Fast and Furious people. Like, it was, like, they made these 2 shorts to go in between the first and the second movie, I believe. And then the other short was supposed to be a prequel to, like, the 4th movie. The first and second movies are, like, timeline-wise the same. Like, the first movie leads into the second movie. The third movie is completely different. The third movie is Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, which takes place in a completely different city with a completely different cast of characters. Then the 4th movie, we jump back into, like, the timeline that was created during the first and second movie. I hope I explained that properly. The second short that they released after Tokyo Drift as, like, a prequel to the 4th movie, which is... Okay, while I have your ears, I need to discuss the naming scheme of these movies, because the first one is Fast and Furious. I have to actually pull this up because I don't even know. Okay, yes. The first one was called The Fast and the Furious. The second one is called Too Fast, Too Furious. Iconic, love that. The third one is Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. The 4th movie in the franchise is called Fast and Furious. So you heard that right. The first one is The Fast and the Furious, 2001. The 4th one is simply Fast and Furious, 2009. Hey, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? Then we get to Fast 5. Then we get to Fast and Furious 6. And then we're at Furious 7. So those kind of make sense. I'm not pissed at those. Do I wish we had some, like, sort of standard naming practice? Sure, but I'm not pissed. The 8th movie is called The Fate of the Furious. And they spelled that shit out. They spelled it out, the F-A-T-E of the Furious. Huh? You had the opportunity to do the F number 8 of the Furious and you didn't do it. I'm frankly pissed off. That pisses me off. There's F9, just initial, not Fast nor Furious, just F9. And then the 10th installment is called Fast X, which is rumored to be the first of, I think, 3. So there's going to be Fast X Part 1, 2, and 3, which is also insane. Like, why not just 10, 11, 12? I don't even know what to say. I am going to have Montana on the pod, and we are going to do an episode together, like a real in-depth episode about the Fast and the Furious. We're going to cover, like, mostly some themes in, like, the 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th, and 6th movies. Just, you know, stay excited for that. That's on the horizon, okay? If you want to hear 2 bitches talk about the Fast and Furious at some point in time, we are going to be serving that up for you on a silver platter. But this is just like a pre-game for that. Anywho, the second short film, okay, I don't even know if I said this. The first short film is called The Turbocharged Prelude. Slay. I love it. The cover is cunty as fuck, okay? The second short film is called Los Bandoleros. I need you to I don't care if you have never seen any of the Fast and Furious movies. I don't care if you don't give a fuck. I need you to stop what you're doing right now and go watch this on YouTube. It's on YouTube. It's like 20 minutes long, something like that. Best 20 minutes of your life. Just kidding. I'm kidding. It's not, but we were absolutely thirsty, starving, desperate for Fast and Furious content after we finished all 10 movies. And imagine us after a desperate search for more coming across these 2 short films. Like, it was like Christmas morning. We were so stoked about it. So yeah, that's all I'll say. That's all I'm going to say about the Fast and Furious, okay? I don't know how long I've been talking, probably like 15 minutes. I'm going to cut myself off. But no, I'm not cutting myself off. I'm not going to cut myself off because I need to tell you about this movie that I watched last night, actually. So yesterday, I'm going to set the scene for you, okay? Because I'm a storyteller. Yesterday was Small Business Saturday, November 25th. I, having a small business, small business is generous, a generous word for what I'm rocking right now. I would call it like a micro business. Definitely a micro business, but if you're unfamiliar, sell my artwork. I do prints and stickers and all sorts of crafty stuff. And so I set up a booth at a local maker's market for a Small Business Saturday. I hadn't done a market in like almost 3 months, since August, over 3 months, I think. So it was my first one back after a brief hiatus, and that's what was going on. That has no bearing on this story, but I'm just really trying to set the scene for you, okay? I'm trying to create an immersive podcasting experience. So I'm sitting there. Shannon, also friend of the pod, is sitting next to me because that's how we met. We met doing markets together. She has a small business called Tiny Food Made of Clay where she makes, that's right, tiny food made of clay. So we're sitting there next to each other, our tables next to each other. And then guess what? Montana comes to visit. You guys, I live in a sitcom. All I do is hang out with my friends all the time. It is perfect. It is perfect. She was off work before the market ended, so she picked up dinner and she came to the market to hang out with us. Okay, imagine my delight, right? I hang out with 2 of my friends, right? What's better? What's better than hanging out with one of your friends? 2 of your friends. What's better than hanging out with 2 of your friends? 3 of your friends. Okay. We're sitting there, we're talking about what we're gonna do later in the evening, and we both start thinking, wow, what we really want to do is go home and watch The Fast and the Furious. But we just can't start it over. So we were both kind of like, ugh, what are we going to watch? We really just need something else to grasp us in the same way that F&F did. So I was thinking I was going to watch a little rom-com, okay? Because Thanksgiving night, me and Ty went to his dad's house for Thanksgiving. We came home. We watched 3 movies. We watched She's All That, She's the Man, and 10 Things I Hate About You. In one night, we were on a bender of 90s and early 2000s rom-coms, which bring back the rom-com. We need more earnest rom-coms. Okay? I feel like we're at the point, and I think that a lot of people feel this way, where all rom-coms are now self-referential, and it feels like everyone that's in a rom-com is self-aware of the fact that they're acting in a rom-com, which is not the move. I just need a real rom-com, not some self-referential, self-aware, poking fun at the genre rom-com. But I digress. So I was thinking last night of continuing that trend. I was going to watch this movie that I've never seen before, but it's on my radar, obviously. It's called Win a Date with Tad Hamilton. Is that what it's called? Win a Date with Tad Hamilton. Yes, it's from 2004. It has Josh Duhamel and Kate Bosworth in it, and Topher Grace, and Jennifer Goodwin. Crazy lineup. I didn't end up watching that because I didn't have Tubi. I could only watch it on Tubi, and I didn't have Tubi downloaded on the TV, and I didn't feel like figuring that out. So I went to YouTube, because sometimes there's some bangers on YouTube movies, some free ones, free with ads. Hey, I'll take the ads. I don't care. I'm a simple girl. All I need is something free with ads, okay? I'm looking through. Nothing's really tickling me. I'm looking through the thriller, horror freebies on YouTube movies, and I come across a movie cover that makes my jaw drop. It is called Joyride. It is from the year 2001. I have never heard of this movie, but on the cover is a guy that I could only recognize as the dad from the first season of White Lotus who thought he had ball cancer while he was on vacation. He was married to the Goop lady, and he was Sydney Sweeney's dad in the show. That guy was on the cover. Next to him is Paul Walker. So I said, okay, perfect. A seemingly car-centric movie that has Paul Walker and the guy from season 1 of White Lotus who thought he had ball cancer in it. I'm sold. I'm sat. My ass is sat for this fine cinema viewing experience. Okay, so this movie was written by J.J. Abrams, directed by John Dahl. It is starring Paul Walker, Steve Zahn, who is the White Lotus ball cancer guy, Which, okay, that's so funny because I know for a fact this guy has done like bigger projects, but because I don't consume like okay, I definitely consume popular media. Okay, like obviously I can't say that I don't consume popular media, but I haven't seen like a lot of like big blockbusters that you'd assume I've seen. Like I've never seen like Jurassic Park. And I also didn't grow up in like a Disney household. Like my parents weren't like Disney parents. They didn't like we didn't I don't know, like it just wasn't like a Disney family. So I've never seen like The Lion King. Like I don't know. I haven't seen any of the Harry Potter movies. I didn't see Finding Nemo till I watched it in like my high school Spanish class in Spanish. Like Finding Nemo itself was in Spanish. So anyway, so I never know people from like their big roles. I'm always like, I can always pinpoint them from something that's like not their main role. Okay, so now I'm looking at it, and Steve Zahn, he was in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Daddy Daycare, National Security, War for the Planet of the Apes, like all movies that like are definitely movies, but no, I know him as Ball Cancer Dad from White Lotus season 1. I'm kind of due for a White Lotus rewatch, honestly. I love that show. And I'm so excited for season 3. On my Instagram story the other day, on the @ObscuraPod, if you're not following the podcast on Instagram, ObscuraPod, go follow. We're having fun over there. We have fun. You can also follow me on my personal account, Olivia Stober Studios. I post more of my art stuff there and like some personal stuff, but like pop culture stuff, all my unhinged stuff goes on ObscuraPod. I kind of use it as a close friend story. Like, but it's not. It's just my public story, but I treat it as a close friend story, if you catch my drift. I posted a picture of Diana Agron, and I said, need to see this queen in White Lotus season 3. Like, can you imagine the absolute slayage that would be happening with Miss Diana Agron in season 3 of White Lotus? Oh my God. I said, I put like a little question box on the story, and I was like, who are you casting in White Lotus season 3? Like, no holds barred, like dream cast, who are you casting? Because I only have 40 followers on that account, I didn't get a lot of responses, but the ones that I did get, I cherished. Someone said Victoria Pedretti, a woman after my own heart. Okay, like, yeah, put that bitch in everything. Put Victoria Pedretti in everything, and I'm watching it. Someone else said, another friend of mine said Harry Styles, and I kind of made a joke. I was like, maybe he'll be able to, make room in his Marvel filming schedule to squeeze in the White Lotus season 3, because it just seemed very far-fetched. Literally, like 2 or 3 days later, news started breaking that there are rumors about Harry Styles actually being cast in White Lotus season 3. I haven't checked the legitimacy of those claims, but I've been seeing it on, like, I think I saw it on, like, Pop Base. But yeah, I just felt the need to say that, like, maybe we manifested that or something. Like, maybe I'm not saying, like, an Instagram story manifested Harry Styles being in season 3 of The White Lotus, but I'm not saying that it didn't do that either. Now, what the fuck was I talking about? What the hell was I talking about? Oh, I was talking about the movie Joyride. So this is a thriller. It is about, so Steve Zahn and Paul Walker are brothers in the movie. And dare I say, a convincing casting of brothers. They played brothers very convincingly. And, okay, so here's the thing. The Fast and the Furious movies did make me a little bit Paul Walker pilled, okay? I was watching them. I was kind of like falling for it. I was kind of getting into it. I was like obviously sad at the end of like the 7th movie or whatever, which is the movie that they were filming when Paul Walker died. And they had to like CGI his face onto his brother's face in the last scene of the movie, which like kind of has that, sorry if that's a spoiler. I can't spoil a real person's death for you, okay? So like, whatever, okay? I'm done. Hey, from here on out, if you're listening to this podcast, I cannot guarantee no spoilers, and I will do my best to not spoil something, but half the time I'm just blabbing, and I don't even know if something I'm saying is a spoiler, but just kind of like a general warning, spoiler, right? Spoilers may be around the corner at any point in time during Olivia's Obscura, and that's something that I'm owning, and that's something that I'll try to work on. Anyway, yes, I believe I was talking about getting, as I have so eloquently put it, Paul Walker pilled. Hey, I know I'm not supposed to speak ill of the dead. I know that's very not chic, very not classy. Actually, I think that probably the best time to speak ill of someone is when they're dead. That's just kind of my hot take. So like, while I did specifically click on this movie because I was like, Paul Walker car movie, yes, injected into my veins, I do feel the need to bring up the fact that like obviously read the Paul Walker blind items. He was like 32 and he was dating like a 16-year-old, which I cannot co-sign. If there's one thing about this podcast, it is that we do not co-sign dating minors. Okay? So I just really need to throw that out there because okay? Right? Not good. But like, I don't know. Like, when people die, we tend to like martyrize them. Is that the word? Okay, that's not the word I was looking for. What I'm trying to say is like post-mortem, post someone's death, like as a culture, we tend to turn them into like martyr figures. And I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that, okay? I know. Listen, the world can exist in nuance, okay? The world exists in nuance. I know that Paul Walker did a lot of charity and stuff. Also, he was 32, sleeping with a 16-year-old. So that takes a bit of precedence in my mind. Anyway, I needed to get that off my chest, off my desk, so that now I can talk about Joyride 2001. So essentially, the basis of this movie is that Steve, I'm just going to refer to them by their names, okay, their real names, because the names in the movies I don't remember, I don't care. Steve Zahn, bald cancer guy, is Paul Walker's brother who just got out of jail. Paul Walker is heading on a cross-country road trip from somewhere in California all the way to New Jersey, and he's trying to pick up this girl in Colorado, like a friend of his that he's into. They're stopping for her and driving her to New Jersey as well. But on the way there, Paul Walker gets a call from his mom. He's like, your brother was arrested. He's drunk. He was disorderly. Can you go pick him up? And so he goes to pick him up in Salt Lake City. When he's there, before they like continue their journey to Colorado, because the original plan is that Paul Walker is just going to drop off Steve Zahn in Denver, pick up the girl, go to the East Coast, which is where his mother also lives, I believe. Like the two of them are going home for summer break. The brother, Steve Zahn, the brother, gets this like CB radio for the car that they're driving, which is like a private two-way radio that like truckers use. It has like a 5-mile radius or something like that, and it's like a private channel. Like two people can talk on a private channel. So like goofing on the CB radio, like pretending to be a woman, and they're like essentially catfishing this truck driver over the CB radio, pretending to be like a woman that he's flirting with. Okay, the driver on the receiving end of the prank turns out to be this like total psycho, and he knows exactly what car they're driving, and he knows where they are, and like at one point, okay, obviously spoilers, but at one point they like kind of get driven off the road, and they're kind of in this like field, and the two brothers are driving the car. It gets pinned by a tree, and then the semi truck has been following them because, like I said, he's a psycho. So the semi-truck driver is barreling towards the car that is butted up against a tree sideways. I'm not explaining this well. Just go watch the movie. It's literally free. But I need to talk about this particular scene because this one had me on the edge of my seat a little bit. Okay, I was like, because I love a movie that like makes me feel itchy. Like I hate it. It's like a love-hate thing. Like on Hulu, there is this absolutely insane movie that I watched recently called Fall. And it is about these two girls that climb the tallest radio tower in the country or something. I don't know. The specifics aren't really relevant, but like if you like just like a good thriller that like genuinely thrills you, watch Fall. Okay, it's not like a good movie, but like I did have a really good viewing experience. Like it did give me the feelings that like the uncomfortable, like sweating, like clammy palms, heart racing vibes that like I love from a thriller. Okay, anyway, where was I? Okay, there's a tree, there's a car, the semi truck is barreling towards the car, and it slows down, and it just creeps up enough to like bump into the side of the car. And as it inches forward, like as the truck driver's inching the truck forward, the front of the truck is like edging under their car and like lifting it up and kind of turning the car on its side. So like if the semi-truck driver were to keep driving forward, it would have just like crushed the bottom of the car into the top of the car and then subsequently into the tree. I hope you loved me describing a movie scene to you in a podcast. But the whole time they're like on the walkie-talkie or radio with the semi-truck driver, and Steve gets on the radio and he's like, dude, we were just playing with you, man. We were just playing with you. And the semi-truck driver's like, oh, well, I was just playing with you, man. And then he kind of like backs off of the car, and the car slowly slides back down into being flat on the ground. And that scene felt like it was like 5 minutes long. I think it was probably like 30 seconds, but like I was sold. At that time, I was kind of watching it as like it seemed like it could either be bad good or bad bad. Like, you know, some movies are just bad and some movies are like so bad they're good. Like at this point in the movie, I was like, oh, actually, like this movie is just good and I do just actually like it. So, and as I'm looking at this right now, there is a Joyride 2 from 2008 and a Joyride 3 from 2014. So I know what I'm watching. I know what I'm watching next. The other thing is that I'm just going to take you through like my favorite scenes in this movie, okay? There is one, I love a car chase scene, okay? It has me on the edge of my seat every single time. So there is this one scene where they're driving the little car and the semi-truck is chasing them and they have to like drift out of it to like, okay, Fast and Furious, like, okay, pop off Fast and Furious, pop off. They have to like speed away from the semi-truck. I don't know the terminology, but it was good. It was a good scene. Iconic car blowing up scene. There's one of those that I riveted me. Here's the thing, there's something in my brain and like my monkey brain where if there's an exploding car in a movie, I'm kind of like sick, dude. Like that was sick. That's probably my most like frat boy trait is that I'm like, if there's an exploding car in the equation, I'm in. Towards kind of like the middle end of the movie, there's a scene where the two brothers and the girl they picked up are all in the car. They get out of the car. They're in this cornfield because they drove into the cornfield trying to lose the semi-driver. They couldn't do it. So then they just like jump out of the car. I can't remember if this was before the car exploded or after the car exploded, but in retrospect, not super relevant. They're out of the car. They're on foot and they're running while the semi-truck is just like absolutely bombing through this cornfield. It's insane. There's this ditch in the cornfield, like from a tractor tire. And at one point, the semi-truck catches up to them and they lay flat in the tire track in the dirt in the cornfield. And the semi-truck drives over them. But they were spared because they stayed in the ditch. It was like the train in the classic, like, lay flat on the train tracks move so the train can just pass over you. It was that, but with a semi-truck in a cornfield. So you best believe I was eating that the fuck up. What I also need to say, it's interesting that like one of the things that like really just made me obsessed with the Fast and the Furious movie, the first one, I'm really hitting my F's hard, like Fast and Furious. Anyway, sorry if that sounds like shitty on the mic. I don't even realize I'm doing it. I just talk with spirit, okay? I'm just a spirited emoter. What can I do? What's a girl to do? One of the things that like thrilled me in the first movie is that the whole like thing is that there's like this organized crime group that like I'm saying, if you haven't seen the movies, this is like a very horrible description for you to kind of like get the gist. These drivers are like essentially doing highway robbery on semi-trucks, and their whole thing is they like take these like fancy little souped up cars and like zoom them underneath the semi-truck and like drive in between the two sets of wheels underneath. Oh, iconic. I saw that for the first time. I was like, I didn't know that was an option. And that's how they would like distract the truck driver and rob them. And so it is like really like beautiful and harmonious that last night, like kind of when I was feeling really aimless and sad about not having any more Fast and Furious movies to watch, I found this movie that also included Paul Walker and semi-truck shenanigans. Okay? What else could I have asked for really in that moment? At the end of the movie, there is like a scene that genuinely I was like, ugh, like I cringed at. I was kind of like, bleh, like a little nauseous about, because ball cancer Steve gets like a metal rod poked through his thigh. Hey, can we talk about the fact that this was all supposed to be part of the O portion of the weekly report? We never made it past O. We never made it past obsessing. That was just one long ass tangent. And I've been recording for like almost an hour. Hey, what the hell? Olivia, get it together. Okay, so I need to wrap this up. I need to wrap up the obsessing portion of this weekly report. Obviously, we are so due for a wrap up. I'm going to stop talking about the Fast and Furious. The R portion of the weekly report, recommending. Guess what I started doing this week? Stretching. I started stretching this week. I stretch intermittently, like, and this is insane because if you listen to the first episode, you know that I am a former yoga teacher. I still have my registration. It like doesn't expire, but I'm a former yoga teacher and a former extremely enthusiastic yoga practitioner. I used to do yoga every day. I did yoga every day for like 2 or 3 years. I was in the best shape of my life. I fell out of it and I haven't been consistent with it since. Something about like yoga itself doesn't really align with where I'm at right now. There's something about it that like, I think it's just because of my like past relationship with it. Like it was literally my whole life for a few years. So now I kind of just refer to it as like stretching or like movement because like, I don't know. It feels like it's less pressure on myself to like sit down and like put on a video or like put on a guided flow or something like that. Like sometimes that is like too much of a barrier and I just can't do it. What I can do and what I have been doing is just like getting on the floor, doing like downward dog, couple lunges, like some nice twists, like yoga moves that like feel good. I haven't done a single chaturanga and I'm loving it. Okay. I don't need, cause guess what? No one is holding a gun to my head making me do a chaturanga. No one's doing that. No one's in my house saying, why aren't you doing a chaturanga? So I'm not doing them. I only do the moves that feel really good for me, which is not chaturanga. But yeah, I'm recommending stretching. Hey, it feels good. Revolutionary, right? It feels good. I also, ever since I started yoga, I loved the inversions part of yoga. Like I loved doing, like my first like inversion that I ever cracked was crow pose. And then headstand, and then I could do a pincha, and then I could hold handstands for a while, like at my peak, which was insane. And I like wish I could do that still, but I like don't care enough to like work to get it back, if you know what I mean. Like it would be cool if I could do that, but like I'm not gonna try, you know. Obviously, I'm not gonna try, but I can still do a headstand because here's the thing: a headstand is kind of all balance, no strength. Like you, in theory, need like some core strength to like I guess get yourself up, but if you're in like a supported headstand with your hands behind your head and like your elbows by your ears kind of, like that's a very steady base. And like even though I've lost a lot of my strength and I like don't have the abs that I used to, like I can't, like a headstand is still something that's very doable for me, which leads me to believe, based on anecdotal evidence, that doing a headstand is balance over strength. I don't care if that's true or not. It's probably not true. Scientifically, probably not true. But I do a headstand. I flip back upright and I'm like, wow, am I seeing the world in a whole new way, actually? Was that amazing? Was that headstand that I just did maybe the most amazing thing that I've ever done? And did it change the trajectory of my whole day? Sure it did. So I guess I can recommend like doing a headstand. I like definitely don't hurt yourself. But if you're like feeling a little fiery and like down DTH, down to headstand, I say fucking go for it. Moving on to the T portion of the weekly report, which at this point, I think the weekly report just is the episode. Like, hello, I think that I talked enough during this weekly report. I don't think we need an addendum. But the final letter, T, stands for treating. And what am I treating myself to this week? I had to think about this one because money's tight, times are tough, okay? I haven't been treating myself to a lot of stuff lately, like monetarily. Like I haven't been shopping a lot. I haven't been shopping at all, really. The most shopping I do is grocery shopping, all right? Can I get a hell yeah? But when I really sat down to think about it, and this is going to sound insufferable and corny, what I'm really treating myself to is the luxury of time, okay? Because I don't have the luxury of money right now, but I have the luxury of time. Fuck the hustle, fuck the grind. I want the luxury of time. Bars. If you're not friends with me, you probably like don't know my deal. Like I feel like if you aren't someone who like actually interacts with me on a daily basis, like personally, You probably see me on social media and just like think that I like do nothing all day. And like, here's the thing, that's kind of true. I also kind of am always working, but I'm also kind of always not working, which is beautiful. I don't have like a day job right now. In my first episode, if you listened, you'll know that up until February of this year, I was doing social media, like remote social media management and like content creation for a tech startup. And in February, they ghosted me. Like they just sent me my last paycheck and like never talked to me again, which like I think like technically they can do because I was a contract employee with them. I wasn't a W-2 employee. So I guess like technically they just terminated the contract, but it was strange. Like it is strange to get ghosted by an employer. So since then I've been like sporadically doing like contract work for clients on Upwork, which is just a hellhole of a website, by the way. Upwork fucking sucks. Everything on there is a scam. I don't think anyone ever really reads any of the cover letters that I send. I think it's like an entire website run by like AI that like nobody actually, like no people are actually on the website. It's all robots. Okay. Fuck Upwork. That to say, I found a couple contracts on there. So I do like sporadic contract work for people, like freelance, like social media work, content creation, video creation, whatever. I also sell my artwork at in-person markets. I used to do a lot more of them. Then my car got wrecked over the summer. A separate story. I didn't wreck it. It was parked on the street, minding its own business, and someone hit it and totaled it. So, you know, that's then, and this is now. So ever since then, I haven't really had my own vehicle to get myself to and from like as many makers markets as I was doing, but I've been doing a lot more. I've been putting a lot more of that energy into my online sales of my art business. This is so long-winded, but I'm talking about kind of the fact that like I don't work a traditional job right now and like how much I love that. So I do feel like it's necessary to like give this context, especially because I don't think that people like are transparent about what they do. Like I don't think that if you follow me on social media as like an acquaintance, you wouldn't know that I like have been paying my rent out of savings for like the past couple of months. No shame, okay? You only get one life. And if I just gotta try to do it my way, you know? Me when I do it my way, I did it my way. Like, yes, there are pros and cons to everything. And yes, I'm in a little bit of credit card debt right now. And yes, I had to take a little bit of my rent out of my dwindling savings last month. Okay? But this is, what am I doing with my one wild and beautiful life? I'm trying. And if I'm being so honest, if I'm speaking my truth, working sucks and I don't want to work. I don't want to work. But this is my one wild and beautiful life. And I will be damned if I don't try to do it my way. If I don't try to hack it so that I can monetize something that I like doing in order to fund the life that I want to live. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of like going day by day trying to fund the life that I want to live, which is doing art, making bullshit to post on the internet, and occasionally like I do have a part-time job. Like I work at like corporate events sometimes, like on evenings and weekends, and like that's nice. Like that's really super helpful, and I wouldn't be scraping by if I didn't have like a little part-time gig like that. But like I am so much happier now than I was when I was trying to hack it as someone working a full-time job. Like that is just, it's just not a way to live. And it's not, and it's a shame because it's the way that a lot of people have no choice but to do. If I was in a different position right now, if I didn't have savings, if I didn't have like parents that were willing to bail me out like every once in a while, like I'd be fucked. I wouldn't be able to fuck around like I am right now. And like I recognize that, and like I'm like, because I have the opportunity to just kind of step out of the traditional what an American life is supposed to look like, I'm gonna do it. But yeah, like it's interesting to kind of take a step back and like when I had more of like a cash flow, when I had like big paychecks coming in from previous jobs, like, and I say big paychecks, like they were big to me, but it's insane right now. Like even though my finances are kind of like in a transitional period. I am just like so much happier, and I feel so much more like free and not dreadful in my day-to-day that it is so hard for me to imagine going back to working 5 days out of the week. And I don't have a plan. I don't have a 1-year plan. I don't have a 5-year plan. I don't have a 10-year plan. I have like vague markers of what I would like to do with my life. But more importantly, I just like, not to get like too like corny and deep here, but like honestly, like I don't know how long I have. I don't know. Are you aware of the climate crisis happening on this earth right now? Like, I don't know if I'm going to make it past 2042. So like, sue me if saving for retirement isn't my main priority. Like, I don't know. I just feel the need. We get fed a lot of different information online. Like, we get so much personal finance input and like all sorts of really good advice that in theory like is important. Yeah, you should have a 401k. You should have 6 months worth of emergency savings just sitting in an account somewhere. You should be making 3 times as much as your rent. That's all nice and cool and dandy. That is not the reality for a lot of people. And like, not to do it again, but not to quote Frank Sinatra, but I'm literally doing it my way. Okay? I'm taking it day by day. I'm trying to create a life that I like, because 2 years ago at this time, I like wanted to die. I wanted to die. I was so deeply depressed. Is all of this renewed zest for life due to the fact that I switched to a new antidepressant last winter? Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's part of it. But if anything, switching my meds has just given me, that's been like the facilitator to allow me to like even dream of living a life that I would like. Because in the winter of 2021, if you would have asked me if I was working at a coffee shop job that I was really getting really burnt out of at the time, I didn't have a lot of faith in myself. I felt like I had nothing else in my life to live for. I was 23 and I was like, this is my life. I'm just going to be working this job that I hate forever, barely scraping by forever. And it's like, I might as well barely scrape by and do what I like to do every day. And in my opinion, if I keep throwing shit at the wall, something's gotta stick. The more art that I make, the more podcasts that I record, the more just like shit that I do, like something has to stick. And that's all I'm trying. I'm not trying to like strike it big. I'm not ever trying to be rich. Like, I realize that I'm probably going to be like renting an apartment for the rest of my life. And like, that's okay. I'm like, it's really affirming for me to be able to sit here and talk about this right now, because I feel like when you say this stuff on like TikTok or whatever, like it always finds the worst people who have such like closed minds and like have no concept of living a life outside of what's been fed to them growing up, especially as an American. Graduate college, get a job, get married, have kids, retire when you're 65. Like, that just so, even since I was a little kid, that's never resonated with me. I didn't even want to have kids when I was a little kid. And I have never been someone with career goals. Literally until now. And it's not a career goal. I just want to be able to make enough money doing artwork to fund my life. And what's wrong with that? I don't know. I'm kind of getting a little crazy, getting a little freaky deaky off the rails here. Getting a little reflective, a little introspective, which is like not really my usual vibe. But I don't know, like it is, I just needed to get that. I just needed to get that off my chest and off my desk as well. I'm getting so many things off my chest and off my desk today. And oh, it feels good. I'm feeling amazing. Light like a feather, baby. The Sabrina Carpenter song, Feather. Love it. I love seeing the videos of her opening for Taylor Swift on the South American leg of her Eras tour, because she's so cute. Like, Sabrina Carpenter actually is just like a real life Polly Pocket when you think about it. Like, everything about her, like, she's giving Polly Pocket, and I love that. But yeah, kind of circling back to the treating of it all, and like how right now I'm kind of like treating myself every day to the luxury of time and doing what I want to do with my time and not being beholden to a manager or a schedule. Like, it's, if anything, having the chance and being in a place in my life where I can try to do things kind of not traditionally has given me so much clarity that, like, yes, this is what I want for my life. Like, it's a lot easier for me to think of what I don't want to do with my life. I don't really want a career. Like, I'm not a career woman. I don't want to work in an office. I don't want to climb a corporate ladder. I don't want to be a mother. Like, it's really easy for me to think, like, of all that. I don't want to do a lot of different jobs. I don't want to work in a restaurant. I don't want to work at an office. I don't want to sell my labor to someone that is going to undervalue me. And that is kind of like a really important revelation that I've continued to have over the past couple years of, like, experiencing more and more and more disillusionment with the current system that we have. Like, at this point, my political views are just burn it all down. We need to start over. Okay? This isn't serving anyone. The system that we have right now isn't serving anyone other than, quite frankly, the top 1%. Everyone else suffers. And I'm getting, like, really off the rails here, but, like, the middle class, like, it doesn't really exist anymore. You're either very well off or you are living paycheck to paycheck. And, like, nothing I do, no matter how hard I hustle and no matter, like, how much I grind and no matter what job I have, like, I am never going to be a 1%er who is absolutely living the life. So why, this is going to sound, like, sad and depressing, but I actually mean it in, like, a very, like, uplifting, freeing way. Like, why would I even try? If no matter how hard I work, no matter how many hours I put in, no matter how much I schmooze and suck up to my boss, if I am never going to end up with a quality of life like the few suits sitting at the top of the food chain, you know, like, why would I even try? Fuck it. I'm done. And this late stage capitalism thing we have going on right now is not working. It's not working for me. I know it's not working for you. And I'm over it. I get one chance at life, okay? Like, for some reason, like, the subject of my own mortality has been coming to me a lot as I've been recording this. I've been saying it a lot, so it seems like that it must be on the top of my mind. But, like, yeah, I, like, really don't. Nothing is guaranteed, and I don't know anything. So, like, why would I be busting my ass at a job that I hate if I'm gonna get run over by, I don't know, a psychotic semi-truck tomorrow? You never know. You never know. Okay, I'm gonna call it. Thanks for listening. We really ran the gamut today on this episode. We talked about unexpected cheddar spread. We talked about 90s rom-coms. We talked about unsavory Paul Walker blind items. What more could you ask for when you come on over and take a look into my beautiful mind palace? What more would you even expect from me? I contain multitudes. All right, team, I'm signing off. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Let me know your thoughts if you had any. Go ahead and follow the podcast, Obscura Pod, on Instagram and TikTok. If you're not following my personal account on TikTok, my bigger account, it's Olivia Stober Studios. I just kind of I post some art stuff on there, but it's mostly just, like, shit posting and random stuff that I like to talk about. So maybe I'll see you there. Maybe I won't. Either way, if you enjoyed your time here today spent with me, I would absolutely love it if you give me a little 5-star review. I'd give you a little kiss on the lips. There it is. I give you a little kiss in advance if you wanted to give me a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. But yeah, it's been a pleasure. It means so much to me if you've made it to the end of the episode. Thanks for listening to me blab. Yeah, it means a lot. And I will be back here next week to do the exact same thing. Have a good one. Bye.